Alright, in this video I'm going to be going over some technical analysis on a few stocks here for this next coming week, where we are and where we are going. So we're going to start off with AMD here. So AMD, this is the daily chart here. AMD has been in a trading range ever since. We can probably go back here to this area starting around October 2025, and we have been trading in a range. So the top of the range being around $266, almost 267, and the bottom of that range being right here at that 189 level, 189 levels there. Then April 16th of 2026 comes in. We break out on that breakout of that 268 area, and been going to the upside ever since April 15th. So we see here there's a huge move to the upside. I know we had earnings on a lot of earnings just went out this last couple of weeks. So all of these companies are going to be that we're going to be looking at do and have released earnings. So we had a huge move up, almost. So all-time high for AMD right now is 481.41. But it looks like we're starting a new trading range after that huge breakout. Stocks are going to have to take a breather, just with anything else that trades, whether that's the NQ and futures, or any type of stock. So once we broke out of this 6-month trading range, we had a huge breakout, breaking above high of actually the high of that is 681, so closing in on $500. But as you see here on Friday, we actually broke above but then closed within this range here. So let's go down to the 1-hour chart and see where we're at. A little bit closer here. So it's not showing me extended hours, but we see that we were trading in a range here the last on Friday, but did close a little bit below that all-time highs, that previous all-time high. So we might see a move back down to I would say around 400. 400 for AMD is going to be a psychological level. We did have sort of a double bottom here around 395 area. So what I'm looking for in AMD is a move down to 400 and see what price actually does around there. So if we have this next week, if we come back all the way down to 400, we have to have a 1-day close above 100. So I want to see a move back down pretty aggressively here, and then maybe like a bounce off of 400 area and go long there around that 400 area. But if we do have a day closing below this low here around that 395 area, we can see a move back down to around that 361 area. So either you're going to go long here around that 400 area, or I would say around that 350 more psychological level for AMD. There's been a lot of things going on with chip and tech stocks, so those are hot right now. I know AMD is a competitor with NVIDIA, but they have been seeing some upward movement. So speaking of NVIDIA, we're going to go to NVIDIA here and technical analysis here on the daily. So let's just go look on the daily here quick. I had a uptrending line here. We did sort of have a trading range as well here on NVIDIA if we look at it in the daily chart, but now we broke above that area. We actually broke all-time highs previously was $212, and then we had on April 27th had a nice breakout. It actually closed above the all-time highs, but then we had a pullback to 195 around that 200 area. Again, using the psychological level around 200 area where we can bounce off of 195 seems pretty good. But now going all the way back up to 236.54, after earnings was released. I think this past week or the previous week, but now pulling away from highs, right? So if we go down to the hourly chart, we are sort of in a downtrend here. So previous, I want to see a previous resistance become support here around that $214 level. I don't really see this coming all the way back down to 200, but I mean, we could. But if you want to be, if Nvidia does want to stay bullish here, we need to see a bounce early next week, probably Tuesday or Wednesday. Just remember that the market is closed on Monday. We need to see a bounce here off of that 214 level. Why? Because we can see that previously it was resistance, so we broke and then we went back below. We tried it again and went all the way down back to 195. We tried here a couple of times, and then finally on the 8th of May, we broke, and then that previous resistance became support because we broke, and we came back down here, came all the way up, and then almost made a way back down to 214, and then made that move back up after earnings. But after earnings, it looks like it's been selling off a little bit here. So I would say around that 214 area. If we do start breaking below that 214, 215 area, I could see a move back down to 200, another psychological level, and then 195 is my optimal long position if it does want to go bounce off of that 195 area. So if you're looking at a long, maybe a stab long here at 200 with a smaller size position, and if it keeps going down, I can see a move down to 195, seeing if we have a bounce off of 195 on Nvidia. But overall, chip names have been going crazy to the upside, a lot of tech names as well. And then we are going to go to Tesla quick and see where that's going. I can see that Tesla is now back into an uptrend. So we were sort of in a downtrend since the end of December of 2025, the end of the year here. Going all the way down to around that double bottom of 335. So a high of about 500 down to 335. That's what, almost $165 there per share. We came back up, and then now we are starting that uptrend, breaking above that 400 level pretty aggressively here this last time. Around May 6th earlier this month, and now I can see resistance here at about $450 here on Tesla, and then that $400 level, obviously a psychological level, but as you see here, it's pretty clear that downtrend and that uptrend, it marks right there. I didn't even do this on purpose, but I had this downtrend previously, and then I just had made this uptrend. I was just like, wow, it just like right here. I don't know what that's called. I don't know if it's called a death cross or whatever. I'm not really into the technical terms, or position, or I'm going to delete that real quick. But around that 400 area, right? You want to go long. Right now we're in the middle. So just imagine this becoming a trading range until we break either above $450 there or below $400 there. But with the IPO of SpaceX coming next month here in a couple of weeks, probably like in 2-3 weeks from now, I can see Tesla going to the upside just because they have robotics, and then they have Tesla vehicles and all these data centers and stuff. And then with SpaceX IPOing, there's been a lot of speculation with Tesla and SpaceX actually merging their stock. I don't know how that would work, but I think a lot of Tesla fans are looking forward to that IPO, and I can see Tesla running back up to $500, if not even further, once SpaceX does IPO. I will be buying IPO, or I will be buying that IPO there in SpaceX for sure. I'm going to be taking a position, and just holding for minimum 5 years, 5-10 years, whatever it is. I think it has a lot of potential for a huge run up. And I remember when Meta came out back in Meta, I think it was Facebook back then, but Meta came out back in I think 2012, and I remember their stock price was like $32, and look at it now, it's like up over $600, $700. It's at 606 last week, but if you just buy and hold, I mean, what can go wrong? SpaceX, I don't think, is going to be a company where it goes anywhere. It's going to be here for the long run, and that's what I'm here for. So Tesla, another position here that we can take is a move back down to 400 going long here. I'm pretty upset that I didn't get in at 397. It's a little annoying, but you know, what can we do? We're not going to chase it here in the middle, because here it's straight in the middle of the range. We don't know if it's going to go back up or back down. You know, preferably I want it to go back down selfishly so I can take a long position. But if we do go back up and we break and close above that 450 area, 460 area, then I can see a move back up to 500 on Tesla. And the last one that we're going to be talking about is Dell. So Dell. Okay, so we'll go to the daily chart here. So previous all-time high was 179.70, and you see it's been trading sideways since around May of 2024. So this is a long time running where it's gone up to 170, down to 87, up to 145, down to 67, and then up to 170-ish, back down to 111, and then we just had a huge breakout and move to the upside. The setup's called Blue Sky Setup. There's no, it's hitting all-time highs over and over again. On May 15th, which is this candle right here, Trump came out and said, go out and buy Dell, right? He's done this a couple of times where he's mentioned stocks. So Dell being one, Palantir being another one. But I am not in a position in Dell. Okay. I don't have a position in Tesla. I do have a position in NVIDIA, and AMD I do not have a position in. AMD is a little bit more expensive, so I would want to pull it back on that one first before I go long. So same thing with Dell. Nearing what's 298.32 is all-time highs, and this is a bullish channel, right? So you see this channel that's going up. I mean, you can see it, you can call it a trading range, but it's trading in this range, but it's bullish, right? So we call it a bullish channel. So going up to the top here, coming down here, bounces up, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 touches here on the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches on the bottom, and we had a strong close on Friday. The thing with Dell is, obviously Donald Trump is backing this, and then the owners of Dell, I believe, they were giving money to Trump to start those $1,000 baby accounts. I don't know how much they are, but whoever was born after 2025 can receive a Trump account where they apply $1,000 to a baby account. And I actually did. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, I would want to see a pullback to the bottom of this channel. I mean, it would be around, I would say 250-ish, and then come back up towards 300 and beyond. But if we can make a slight move down to 250 area, a couple of days here around 250, 260 area, that would be a good long, maybe stab long. But we would have to wait to see where that daily candle actually closes, because if it closes below this this channel here, this bullish channel, and then makes a lower low that next day, we might see a move back to previous all-time highs of 180 area, or if not 200, which I would probably take a stab long around that 200 area, just because it's more of a psychological level, and then maybe wait for a move back down to 80 and size up right there, and then maybe see a move back to the upside. But there's a lot of factors going on geopolitical wise with the Strait of Hormuz closing. There's still Iran conflict. The US and Iran are still in conflict. They haven't really have really decided on a a plan on nuclear weapons and so on and so forth, but that is nothing that I'm going to be commenting on. But one thing I did want to say is that the $1,000 baby accounts, if you, let me pull up the retirement calculator here. If you put that money into a S&P 500, which could be VOO or VOOG, and average 10% return. Let me see if I can get this. Retirement calculator. If you start at the age of 1 and you leave that money in there until the age of 67. So say you started a Roth IRA for your 1-year-old with $1,000. How much money you invested? It's $1,000 here. How much will you contribute? Let's just say 0. You never put a dime in there. And you go 10% annual average returns. The S&P 500 has returned like 24% the past 2 years, not this year, but the past 2-3 years have been well over 10%. So let's just calculate that. You would see a growth of $1,000 grow into $715,000 if you just left there from the age of 1 to 67. And let me see if I can show you this real quick. Let me just add a source here. Let's go browser. Let's go. No, I didn't want that. I'm going to remove that. Okay. So anyways, I put in Dave Ramsey retirement calculator, enter your age to 1 to 67, and you put in $1,000. Average annual income or average annual return is 10%. Calculate that at $715,000. So a lot of the times people want to make these huge gains in, say, a year, a week, or whatever it is, but the majority of people, which I would suggest, is putting money into a retirement account, a Roth IRA, and just max that out. Try to max that out every single year, obviously, but the more time that you have in the market, the better for your account. That is the main thing. It's time in the market, not time in, Timing, time in the market, right? The more time that you're in there, the more compound growth that you're able to have in your retirement account. So, again, I'll be doing stock analysis every weekend, and throughout the week I will be going over the trades that I take and just the swing positions. I am more of a swing trader here, and I have dabbled in futures trading, but I'm going to get back to that after I get some more swing trades here on stocks. I'm going to take a break from futures trading, but more stock trading, just because it's a little bit easier. I mean, with futures trading, you're so leveraged that you can lose $500 like that, blow up an account super quick. If you have $500 account and buy a decent company, whether it's Tesla, Nvidia, Dell, or AMD, any of the companies that we talked about today, you're not going to lose that $500 unless that company goes bankrupt. But at this point, I don't think any of those companies would go bankrupt. So that's what I'm going to be doing. If you like the content, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video.